So let's begin with a presentation by Dan Dowdy on News You Can Use. Tell us what's going on in O-Scale 2-Rail, Dan.
All right. Well, the magazine went out, I think, on Thursday, so I'm kind of referring to that. But it's quite a time to be in O-Scale right now. I'm looking at Roger Lewis is going to go into production with his California Zephyr cars. These are going to be built in Korea. I suspect they're going to be pricey, but I also suspect they're going to be probably some of the best cars ever done at this price point. I refer to his website for that information. I think I bought 7 pair of those trucks for my Streamline cars 15 years ago. And I paid $75 a hit, and I think they're going to be at close to $170 a hit this time. But this will probably be the last time that Blue Ribbon's going to run these for them. Other things at Chicago of note, Ross Dando was there. He's one of those P48 guys, but he's got some beautiful new spikes out. Not something you'd want to do your whole layout with, but if for the close-ups and switch so forth, the spikes are really prototypical. He's also got a lot of new etchings coming out. He's a Rock Island guy, but I suspect a lot of these etchings will work on other engines like the spark arresters and so forth. He's also coming out with some new cars. He didn't have those yet, so I'm not going to say anything about that. Although he did purchase Modern Era O-Scale from Bill Yancey, and he has those cars back out. And that was a Railgun and a Railbox boxcar. So for modern equipment, that's good news to have back out. Ed Scuchis was there from Berkshire Car Shop. Really surprised me. He's got some beautiful moldings, not only of trolleys, but of buildings. The buildings were just fantastic. There's some pictures in the magazine and the News You Can Use, and also in the Chicago show. But these are actually 1- and 2-story fronts with sides, and I've never seen anything quite like this done in filament printing. And they're really, really well done. Some Victorian, some more, 30s and 40s downtown stuff. So that's worth taking a look at. Just to toot my own horn, we came out with a group of O-Scale signal and call boxes. This is something that I wanted for my layout. And I don't think they've been produced in many, many years. Some of these not at all. But there are 2 Western Railway supplied boxes. One's a phone box, one's a signal box. And then the other 4 are General Railway signal boxes from the 30s, and you can still see them out there today. And we've also produced the SA1 General Railway signal, which was a single searchlight signal, which are some of those still exist today. And that was the first really successful single light that came into being after General bought the Hall Railway Signal Company. So those are something that we've come out with. Berkshire Valley Models has some new stuff, some more detailed parts. Big news for me was John Cagle, Southern Car and Foundry. I haven't seen him in, golly, 10 years. He came to Chicago. He has a brand new, beautiful Howe Truss boxcar. This was an alternate design to the AAR Pratt Truss design, but the castings are just superb. I think he had 20 of them in Chicago, and by 11 o'clock, he had sold them all. They are on his website, Southern Car and Foundry. I think he is totally out now, but he will be rerunning those. I got one, and I'll be doing an article on that. I built some of his other cars previous, and they were really a joy to build. These are, of course, cast resin cars. Scale City Designs, they didn't make it to Chicago. Apparently, this is hot rod season coming up, and that's their main business is car parts. So, but they have released the American Standard passenger car. And the first one that came out was their Doodlebug, and this is new castings or a lot of new castings, I should say, and some new tooling. So this is the stuff that Ralph Brown had, many, many years ago, and it was sold to somebody in Tennessee with a big announcement in the early 2000s, and then it just disappeared. Scale Steady acquired it, and they're finally bringing some stuff out. So that's some good news. All Nation was at Chicago and Strasburg, and he's got a new 1910 interurban trolley that looks pretty cool. That's going to be also a resin kit or a filament kit, but there's pictures of that in the magazine. And other than that, there was a lot of other new stuff coming out. We saw some new people at Chicago. Yes, there are even some younger people at Chicago. One of the cool things for a lot of you modern guys was that Bob Lavazzi had a prototype of the Atlas Auto Rack, which I think this is the first time people have actually seen the product and not just a drawing. So it's an impressive car if you can, if you got 86-foot places to run it, but it is a gorgeous car. And the other thing is the SDL 39 that Central Locomotive is doing. That was a custom run. I believe it was sold out pretty quick. But Jay Griswold had a sample truck for that. We should have had an AARB truck on display. It got lost in the mail, but that's something that Lou's going to be out with probably in the next month. And that will be a direct drop-in for any Weaver RS3 or FA. It'll be available in Proto 48 and OW5. I did the patterns. I did the 3D patterns for it here. Sent it back to Glenn Guerrera. He shot the waxes, and of course Dave out in California did the brass work, and they're really, really nice. So if you have some RS3s or FA2s and you want something that resembles the P&D Blomberg truck that was done years ago, again, this will be a direct drop-in replacement for that. So that's the big news that I have. I'll turn it back to Dave.
Terrific. Dan, you were at the Strasburg, Pennsylvania show last week. How about one quick paragraph on that?
We try to get out there at least every 2 years. It's a haul for us. We're here in Central Illinois, but it's just a group of people. I don't get to see that often. The show was sold out. There was all kinds of stuff that you just don't see at Chicago. It's just kind of a different kind of show. Yeah, it's only 5 hours, but the people and some of the stuff that these guys have squirreled away for years and then bring out at this show are really fantastic. So I would, if you got to make a 3 or 4 hour drive, it's definitely worth to go to that show. Maybe once a year. I think it's held 3 times a year. John Dunn and Rich Yoder do a great job with that. This was John Dunn's last show. He's retiring from the show circuit. So Rich Yoder will be taking over fully, but it was a great show and just a great time, and just a lot of nice people that you just don't see in the Chicago area all the time.
Rich and John told me that they had the largest attendance in the history of the show, and you could tell it. It was packed, a lot of stuff to sell. A lot of people took boxes home. So very good.